What's going on, everybody? Doc Average Gamer Guys back yet again for Escape from Tarkov action and jumping into another Let's Talk Tarkov. Got an interesting little list of things to chat about today. This was pretty well received in the last one, so I don't intend again for this to be every week, but I thought this would be another good kind of follow-up to that. We'll keep the streak going. Hardcore and Escape season are running hard and heavy, which is great, and you guys have really been enjoying that, so thank you for all the support. So I figure we'll jump into another episode. Again, this is going to be generally kind of like a podcast-esque feel. It's mostly just me chatting about the game and maybe some changes, some news, and some other things. I'll try to throw some good stuff out there up front that might be helpful if you're not as tuned into the Tarkov community, but you are a fan of the channel. And we'll spend some time chatting. I do really appreciate all the comments down below, all the thoughts, and everybody that threw in the last video. So if you have some thoughts on what's going on or anything that we comment on, welcome to certainly take that feedback, listen to you, respond to you, and love to be able to chat and communicate with you. So that would be great, and the comments are a great place to do that. So without further ado, let's jump in. Let's talk some Tarkov. All right, so first things first here, let's talk some news. I think some good news, some hopefully good news. A couple of things have changed recently that I think have been pretty good. The biggest one here, and I anticipated if I had my crystal ball, I anticipated that this was going to happen, but they made the change with the Greenbats. I think there's been some spawn changes with this as well. I can't confirm that yet. However, here's what I'm going to tell you right here. This big boy. You go to your workbench, you can now craft Greenbats. The prices originally, this came out a couple of days ago. The prices of these things originally skyrocketed, like absolutely crazy. Power banks have always been somewhat expensive, you know, in this range, maybe a little bit higher, maybe just a shade lower, because they weren't used for a whole lot. They were used for a couple of crafts. Rechargeable batteries had a couple of decent crafts. Everything here in this price range has generally settled, though, I think, to a pretty solid spot. Greenbats are still extremely expensive, so if you have the means, I don't know profitability wise with these being 100k, you would definitely at 500k make some money here. So if you're looking for a money making strategy and you have some money that you can spend, that just keep in mind this is a 4 or 5 hour craft essentially. If you can run this craft somewhat consistently, you can actually make some pretty good money on it. But this is super helpful for anybody that is looking to continue their hideout progress. Greenbats, military corrugated hose tube things, and up until medical tools became really consistently easy to find, were huge walls when it came to hideout progress, especially heating. I think it was heating and definitely rest space. Rest space took a lot, took quite a few Greenbats. I think it was 5 in order to get that done. So this is a huge quality of life change. You know, they've continued to add some stuff. I think we're going to continue to see more and more stuff come to the workbench, especially as they make adjustments to the fleet and they make adjustments to some other things. We've recently seen some other changes that, call them good or bad. I think they're just more balancing changes. Things like, you know, these M61 rounds. I think you used to get 100 for this. Don't quote me on that, but I definitely believe it was more than that. In addition, I know you used to get 200 out of this AP 6.3 craft. It used to actually only cost you 200 rounds of PST GZH plus the 2 red to get you 200 rounds. Now it's down to 150. More PST GZH really doesn't matter. It makes the price a little bit worse, but no big deal. You can also obviously craft a gas analyzer. Expected this to come. That's been a little bit while longer than the Greenbats, but this is another good one if you need to be able to do that. It certainly has at least initially jumped up AA batteries. They got a little bit more useful, but not super. But it's a nice to give additional options for some of the things that you need. What's interesting with this craft, I'm okay with the Greenbats because Greenbats are kind of like an upper tier level craft. This one's interesting to me because these, your Geiger Mueller counters and these magnets are not always the easiest items to find. So I thought that was an interesting way to make this a craft. It's certainly not making it much easier to get these, although these are extremely more accessible than they had been in the past, which is really, really good. So just a couple of quick, I'll call it hideout updates and things for you guys to keep a look at. One other thing that I just want to do kind of like a market watch type thing on, military power filters. If you find one of these, shove it straight up your fourth point of contact and make sure you're hanging on to it. These have absolutely skyrocketed in price, and it is crazy. If you were part of this wipe part of the last wipe, these were like 45 or 50k max. They're 800k. This is one of the most expensive, if not pretty close to the most expensive single slot barter item you can find. It is a single slot reserve. I'm sure there are some on Lighthouse. I actually found one in Labs the other day. They're findable. They're out there, but they are extremely expensive. So if you're looking for a way to go make some money, that might not be a bad thing to go try to grab some and get some stuff done with. I think the other reason that they've jumped up in price so extensively is you do need a lot for solar panels. You need 10 of them, which is a lot. I'll be honest. Aces are actually really hard or really easy to find. I've come to find this wipe. That's just a total side tangent note there, but you also need some for the trade for the Reap IR scope, which I think is probably jumping the price up a little bit. And my estimation there is just people like myself that are on the test drive quest and trying to get that done. So that's a little bit of market watch and some news. In addition, the second part of news, as you probably noticed, is the Christmas event is over. The tree is gone. Your tasks that you had are gone. And that really steps us into our first topic I want to spend just a few minutes on, which is, how did you like the Christmas event? What did you think? I'd certainly love to hear your comments below. What did you like? What was a pain for you? What you enjoy? What was good? What should come back? You know, obviously they have some opportunity to continue to grow and expand on this moving forward, and they also have some opportunity to fix it and make it a little bit better. I'll start with my positives first. I always like to do the positives up front. Positives. It was refreshing. It was different. There was a lot of stuff going on. We got quests. We got quest rewards with some pretty solid rewards. The quests weren't necessarily easy. Some of them weren't super difficult. Some I did feel were a little bit challenging. Just with the availability of certain things. The purple Christmas balls were a little bit tough, I think, to come by. Other than that, though, I thought it was a pretty good balance. If you wanted to grind towards the tasks, you absolutely could. If you didn't want to, you could basically not care about those, but they did have some solid rewards. I remember the one for just finding Found and Raid Christmas ornaments was actually like, I think it was a Bitcoin. That was a pretty solid reward for not a whole lot of effort beyond just going and hitting some Christmas trees and hitting some safes and doing some things like that. So I really like that. I like the Christmas trees. I thought they were really cool. To get the scavs to celebrate, that was a little funky, but it was neat. It was really cool. It was also really cool when you compare that to pairing that up if you were smart with some of your other tasks. I actually really like that. If you needed to kill scavs on customs, you could pretty consistently go there, hit the tree if you're one of the first or second people to get there, and knock out a couple of scav kills, which I really liked. I thought the hideout changes were cool. Obviously, the inclusion of airdrops, which really wasn't a Christmas event. It was more just something to spice it up. That was planned, and then they filtered that in. That was really neat. Glad that those stayed. I think those are really cool. That's added some dynamicness, which is not a word. It's made the raids more dynamic, which is neat. I really love that. I love that feature. I don't think the loot in them is too overpowered or too crazy. Pushes people to fight for some things, maybe give some player scavs a chance to go and get some gear. Like, that's all cool. I love those. Overall, I thought the event was really good. I thought the whole Santa mechanic, the Santa mechanic in and of itself was really neat. To have a scav in there that threw out some gifts that could then pick things up, that then would throw you something else. You know, nothing I got from him was like uber crazy, but there were some couple of good things. I think the best thing I got from him personally was a moonshine. That's awesome. That was really cool. Sometimes he gave you kind of crap, which was also kind of fine and kind of funny as a meme. So I actually liked it. Now let's get to the drawbacks. The Santa mechanic and killing him and the negative rep. Too hard to recover from. I mean, that is, as it stands, the base level issue, I think, with that whole mechanic. If I look at trading, I'm at 0.42. I was in the upper 2s, maybe 3s, before that whole event happened. I killed him 3 times, I think. And luckily I didn't kill him like right away when the penalty was really, really severe. But I definitely killed him when the penalty was like 1.5. And then again when it was 1. That needs to change. Or, and I don't anticipate that this will happen, we will probably at some point get, like we did, kind of a fence reset, scav karma type thing in the future. I would have liked for one of 2 things to happen. One, him not be killable. Or not impact the penalty, as in, like, if you killed him, maybe you could grab the bag and the hat. Otherwise, like, he didn't have anything else on him. Or him to just not be killable. Like, he gets shot, he just has, like, so much health that he could just run away. And you give him an unlimited stamina, and he could just run from you the whole raid. And he would just run from spot to spot, and almost maybe, like, to a certain extent, extract. Like, if he gets shot or something, the first, like, sign of danger, he just extracts from the raid and he's just not there. And while that could certainly spoil it for some people, and I'm sure there's some mechanical and game coding issues that might fall behind that, I think that would have been a better way. The other thing that got brought up quite often was the 2 times that I killed him was purely out of like reactionary fire when I was already in a fight with other PMCs. So I'm in a fight, I remember specifically one of them was on Shoreline. I'm in a fight, I'm moving through east side of dorms. I push in one side, get some shots in down a hallway, push out the first floor on the other side. I go to push down the building to kind of get a flank. I turn the corner, and the dude is just standing there in the corner pointing a gun at me. Well, what do I reactionarily do? I fire. I shoot. I kill him. That feels really bad. And then I ended up dying in it right on top of that. So I don't even get to keep the cool Santa stuff in addition to that. That felt pretty bad. I think making him more easily recognizable, like basically essentially impossible to imitate, maybe not having a gun, you know, obviously that doesn't like really fit into the whole idea of it. But like the other cool thing about it would have been maybe give him like guards, like quote unquote reindeer or something that have guns that can protect him. And if you shoot him, then they shoot you, right? But that there's no negative penalty to try to taking them out, especially taking out Santa. I think the penalty was also way too severe. If you wanted to go in and just work him and kill him, yeah, I think 0.25 would have been a big enough penalty. That's a lot of raids on your scav. That's a lot of scav karma to try to grind back. And I think what happens now is some people did it accidentally. Some people did it on purpose, and they were going to do it on purpose regardless. But some people did it on accident, and now they're just going to be bad scavs for the remainder of this wipe or until they find an opportunity to reset. So hopefully we get some type of mechanic or some type of quest system, maybe a scav quest system or something that can help us earn a little bit more rep with fence, maybe go into a certain map and, you know, like use the PMC scav extract or go into a certain map and loot 10 items and survive or something like that that can just help that scav rep a little bit, because I don't really see too much of a big issue of a lot of people having positive scav rep, because that's just going to make them more likely to scav friendly together with other scavs. Right now I think you have kind of divided pool and base of people that are split. Some people have really terrible karma now because of the Santa thing. Some people didn't kill him a whole bunch and they want to play nice, and then those two groups are not going to get along in scav raids. So it's an interesting dynamic. We'll see how it plays out, but I think that's the one thing that I would have liked to see changed. The only other thing I think, again, outside of the Christmas ornaments, maybe just being a little bit more, maybe just a slightly more available. I really liked it. Other than that, I don't think there was huge expectations. I think the drops event that they had going on, while the drops were not fantastic, guess what? It was free stuff for watching your favorite streamers, and they were all barter related items that didn't impact the economy of the game. Super smart. Like 100% smart, in my opinion. That was the way to do it, because guess what? While you had people complaining that they weren't good, you didn't have anyone complaining that they were too good. And we've seen what happens when they're too good. And I talked about this a little bit, I think, in the last episode. So I was happy to see that. All in all, I think BSG, they did a great job. I really liked it. Some minor tweaks, I think, to Santa in the future, if they bring him back, would be pretty cool. And other than that, I liked it. I would also like to see, like, you know, a shakeup of bosses and some other stuff on some of the maps, I think would have been kind of cool, like they've done in the past. But obviously they can save that for future events. And I think everything else that we got, task-wise, everything was dynamic. Again, airdrops added a really nice touch. I really enjoyed it. So again, let me know down in the comments below what your thoughts are and your feelings on it. But overall, I'd say pretty good thumbs up for me over the last couple of weeks for the Christmas event. The only other thing I really wanted to spend some time talking about today, outside of some of the news and really the Christmas event, was queue times. I have noticed, at least as of today, and even yesterday a little bit, and I'm recording this, you know, Tuesday, is that queue times have seemed to, like, drop down and dwindle quite a bit, actually. I'm not getting huge, massive queue times. I'm getting short, couple hundred, sometimes in the teens when I queue up. I'm getting into the game relatively fast. I don't think that has anything to do with drops. I don't think it has anything to do with drops. I'm going to say that very clearly. I don't know that. That's just my perception. I don't think it has anything to do with drops. What I do think it has to do is total volume of players. People are back in school. People are back at their normal work schedule. So I think that's a big part of it. I also think that hopefully, I'm hoping that they've got some of their server-related items and issues kind of worked out and some of their bugs fixed. On that side of things. Hopefully things have stabilized a little bit. Again, people are back to work in general. So even the places that are hosting these servers that might have had some issues, we all have to remember that in the time that they did that, and you can be really happy about a Christmas-esque wipe. My argument would be, and granted the wipe wasn't on Christmas, but doing it right before and then running that event during that period of time. The thing that sucks about it is everywhere in the world, in some form or fashion, is celebrating. Might not all be on the 25th. Again, for Russia and those guys at BSG, you know, they're celebrating on the 7th. But it's all within that time frame. So that's when people take off work. All these places that are hosting servers and all this stuff that goes on in the back end is also going to have lower staff when it comes to those things. I don't think that's talked about enough when you consider the impact and then the influx of players. When do people have more time to play games? When they're off work, when they're off school, when they have 2 or 3 weeks of break or vacation or whatever the case may end up being. So just please keep that in mind. Hopefully you had not too many issues. I know it certainly sucks to see events, really fun events like the Drops event and the holiday event that were going on, and have issues that were coming up for BSG with server side. I know I ran into plenty of them myself. Hopefully they can iron those things out in the future and just have things better stabilized. But I will say, and I would be very curious to hear in the comments down below how your queue times have been over the last day or two. I have noticed like really, really significant reductions. And I don't think it's because there's a smaller player base out there. I think it's just probably a less load at certain peak times. And it's probably, again, a large part of it, people just kind of back to their normal way of life, and people are jumping on whenever they have some moments to game. So other than that, hopefully your wipe is going pretty good. I am currently sitting at level 42. We just got our thick weapons case. Actually really excited about that. I am 1 shooter born in heaven kill away. I've got my Tarkov shooter 8 done. I'm actually going to try to get shooter born heaven done tonight, and we've made some really, really nice task progress. I've got a lot of lighthouse to go. I'm working on and going to be going into lighthouse and just doing kind of a total lighthouse guide. I accidentally completed one because I did one lighthouse raid, but I'm going to try to go and knock out a bunch of this and be able to provide a guide or two to cover these. So if you're interested in that, be on the lookout on the channel. Other than that, like I said, got a hardcore series running, got our escape series running, having some pretty good progress in both. Actually made some pretty solid money in our escape series, I think in the episode that was posted yesterday. So that was really nice. And our hardcore series is off, up and down. We've had some up and downs, but off to a pretty nice run and getting going as well. So if you're interested in both of those, we'll have some more content coming out. I do plan on some Saturday videos here. as soon as we can get some more things rolling with Hardcore and Escape series, get a couple more episodes locked down and edited and out the gate for you. But again, we do stream over on Twitch Fridays and Saturdays, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. We'd love to chat with you about all the stuff we talked about here, as well as anything else that you're thinking about as far as the game is concerned. Links in the description for that. Other than that, if you enjoyed this, hopefully it was cool for you. I'm going to, again, try to throw some clips in. So hopefully I had some stuff to keep your eyeballs busy. But other than that, if you liked it, like, comment, subscribe, and certainly please do comment down below. Love to hear your feedback on some of the thoughts I shared and how your wipe so far is going, what you thought about the holiday event, what your queue times have been, and all that goodies. And if you're excited about the crafts, let me know. If you need some hideout help, hopefully those were good for you. So please let me know down below. With all that being said, I've been Doc, Average Gamer Guys. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next Last Talk Tarkov. Peace.